right, guys, welcome back to the show. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Lea Thompson, alias girlgonecrypto. Lea, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Seth. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, no, the pleasure's all mine. I spoke not long ago with Rachel, who I know you do a Friday live stream with.
I do.
And it was great being able to talk about just sort of micro influence within cryptocurrency, which is the sort of thing that I think a lot of people in cryptocurrency misunderstand, and in blockchain misunderstand, that micro influence is probably more important than having, say, 100,000 followers on YouTube or 15 million followers on Twitter. But then also, as Rachel has found out recently, what the consequences are for coming up too fast and some of the backlash that can occur. So I know there's a lot of drama there. We'll leave that, we'll leave that for Rachel to deal with. I'm excited to get to know you and kind of, figure out what brought you on to the crazy train that is the crypto Twitter scene and just crypto micro influence.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in crypto about 3 years ago. I actually kind of stumbled upon it semi-randomly through a social blockchain called Steem, or Steemit, as you guys may have heard. It's been in the news a lot the last week or so. But yeah, I just started sharing content. I made some ukulele covers and posted it, and I made like $100 in crypto. And I was like, oh, well, what does this mean? Why is this worth anything? What do I do with it? It just kind of started the whole rabbit hole. And so that was about 3 years ago. And so I've just been kind of casually in the crypto space for the last, I would say, 2.5 years, just kind of learning, posting on Steem. And then about 6 months ago, Girl Gone Crypto was born. I decided to start more of like a crypto specific channel because it was obviously a big part of my life and something that I was really excited about and wanted to kind of learn more and just dig a little deeper on. So that's my story.
That is awesome. Okay, so the Girl Gone Crypto handle and persona you came up with about 6 months ago. I think we talked about offline that this is a weird space, and domain squatting is a huge problem, like right in the world and with brands and such. And we mentioned that, or you mentioned that your website is not girlgonecrypto.com. What is your website?
Yeah, so my website is lealovescrypto.com, which I know from a branding standpoint would be easier to have Girl Gone Crypto, but it was already taken. And so what do? You just kind of go from there.
Sure. Well, I've got to say, I pulled up both, and if with your permission, I'm going to go ahead and pull up your website really fast.
Sure,
and
yeah.
We'll do a quick screen share here because I was just so impressed with what you have, with what you've placed there. It's obviously a bit more of a resume site, and clearly it's designed for people to get to know you and for people to get to know what it is that you do. And let's talk a little bit more about that. Since starting this brand of Girl Gone Crypto and now having the attached website, Lea Loves Crypto, what has your engagement been like with the community at large-scale events? I think I mentioned you mentioned on Twitter recently that you've had to adjust your schedule based on COVID-19 lockdowns and such. But what's your routine been like since launching this brand, and where are you finding that you have the most traction?
Yeah, that's a great couple of questions. So interestingly enough, part of why I actually wanted to start this brand, Girl Gone Crypto, is I actually kept getting requests to speak at crypto conferences, even though I wasn't making crypto content, just because people were following me on Steem, which is a crypto centric blockchain or social site. And so I was like, all indicators are pointing in this crypto direction. I actually spoke at quite a few crypto events before I even started Girl Gone Crypto. And so generally what I've been focusing on right now since starting my channel is probably some of the, either some of like the really big conferences where it's going to have the most ROI in terms of people that I'll be able to meet up with, brands I'll be able to connect with, different things like that, or things that are kind of more local that are a little more niche, but maybe I don't have to fly to. And so honestly, I think that in-person events are hugely valuable. I think that it's a great way to, maybe get some interviews of other people, to get interviewed on other people's show, and just in general, show that you are a real human being in person, and actually make some friends in the space because, we're all, this, you make content where we're all working from home, and it's nice actually to get out and hang out with some of these people in person. So I try to get to really as many as I can in a year.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. And without like fully doxing you, I think you've listed on your website that you're based out of Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. I
Yep.
won't ask like we're not going to drill down to what county, what street, but
Yeah.
like things get weird, right? So I think we mentioned also offline. I've got some friends here where I'm based who have been in the professional YouTube content creation scene for a long time, right? Irrespective of crypto and tech in general, and weird stuff happens when people think that you're accessible, but
Yeah.
clearly, I'm sorry. Is hitting too close to home?
Oh no!
Do you have
I
a
just
horror
think
story?
I don't yet, but that's why I'm a little cautious about giving out my home address and even city sometimes. I'll say it, but yeah, no, I think it's better to be cautious, is what I'm saying.
Awesome. Okay, so for the sake of caution, for the sake of making sure that we're both being smart here, do you wind up going to a lot of Washington area meetups? I mean, clearly you got Bellevue, you've got so many campuses in Redmond, right? And anybody who works in tech knows there's a ton of stuff happening in Washington. Do you wind up going to a lot of local stuff? If so, what's the reception been like there? And have you been able to contribute meaningfully locally, or maybe to the extent that you want to yet?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I definitely would like to get even more involved in kind of the local big cities. So I live, not necessarily in a big city, but I live within driving distance of both Seattle and Vancouver, Canada as well. And so I'll go to various conferences and events and meetups and things in those cities when I can, because I do think that it's great to connect with kind of the local crowd. And one actually event that I've been really impressed with is the TF blockchain events. They started in Seattle, but they actually have quite a few blockchain events around the country now in various cities, I think like Austin and probably some in California. And they were one of the conferences I was supposed to attend this month that's been canceled because of the coronavirus. But it's amazing. I mean, we've got people in there that are from IBM and from Amazon and from Microsoft, like all the heads of these blockchain divisions for these huge companies that are based out of Seattle. And so it's definitely a big tech city, which also lends itself to being a good blockchain city as well.
That's awesome. Okay, so it sounds like then when you do go to these meetups, then you're making connections that transcend that common blockchain interest, and you're extending that network out into tech, and largely it sounds like cloud and SaaS.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a whole variety, of people that are at these events. A lot of, different people that are involved in various ways in the industry, like Celsius Network, I think usually comes to them. And there was quite a few people that were into mining. So you actually probably would have enjoyed the panel that they had. There was a bunch of miners up there. But it's great because I feel like, at that event specifically, it's very educational. And I was like taking notes the whole day. I felt like I really learned a lot, which is refreshing because sometimes you go to these conferences and all the talks are just really, really high level, which is fine. That's kind of what they need to do to talk about their product or their service. But it's nice when you go to an event where people dig deeper and you're really learning as well.
Sure. No, that's awesome. And to your point, I think considering the audience, right? When you've got a much larger scale event where they know that the intended audience is the person who's new to crypto, and you're attempting to lay out the use case to them. Sure, high level does make sense, but that can't be every crypto conference every time or every breakout session, right? If it's a rah-rah session the whole time, who are we talking to? What are we getting done? So.
For sure. And I think that at some of those bigger conferences, I attend them, like I was at World CryptoCon in October, and, I attend them more for the connections, more for the people I'm going to meet, more. I think I got interviewed 10 or 12 times on different people's shows. And so it's a great way, like, for just kind of exposure in that sense, but I'm less going for the education piece of the talks to those kind of events.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's transition then into your involvement at some of these events, and maybe more to the point, what is, like, if you were to brand yourself, right? So the Girl Going Crypto brand, what is the unique selling point, and what's the value proposition of your brand, as opposed to, as a terrible thing to ask, but I ask crypto projects this sort of thing all the time, pretty directly. But what do you bring to the industry that you think is different, or what's been your main focus?
Oh, that's a great question. And I would kind of answer that in two parts. And so, first of all, I think that I have actually worked in the tech industry for about 8 years, and I do a lot of education in the tech industry. And in fact, I head up the video education like all of our video education for our B2B retailers in this tech company that I work for. And so taking really technical things and breaking them down into a way that's digestible is something that I think I'm really good at. And that's why I honestly enjoy making these videos, because I do a variety of content. So sometimes I do more tutorial, education, walkthrough sort of things. But I even try to bring that mindset into the interviews that I do, especially if it's someone that's really technical. Because I know what questions people are asking in their head, because they're the same questions that I have, and they're the same questions that I had a year or two ago. You know, it's an evolving process, but I don't think that I'm so far down the line that I forget, you know, what it feels like to be a total beginner. And so I try to use that to my advantage. So I would just say that that's one thing, is I try to really make things digestible for people and approachable. The other thing that I think I kind of bring, and I don't know exactly how to word this, but I think I'm good at making just kind of like silly, fun content that has a message behind it. And I think that there's a lot of value in that, actually. So sometimes I'll make these like little, like, I don't know, like TikTok type videos or something that's just kind of like a lip sync or something silly, but it's about something that matters and it gets people talking. And it's kind of, so I think in general, like just making highly engaging, fun content that helps to educate at the same time is really fun. And so those are kind of the two areas where, to answer your question, I think that maybe I provide a little bit of value.
Very, very cool. So I've got to ask, I started on TikTok, and I know a lot of other creators within this space have at least tried at TikTok. What's been the reception like for you? So I said that it's exactly backwards. I might be thinking another language right now and only trying to speak in English. Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down here.
I get your question. Yes. So it's actually been very interesting, and I really wish that I had more time to devote to it, but here's what I did. So I did a 30-day experiment, because I was like, okay, what's this about? I'm just going to go really hard for a month. And I think I made 3 TikToks a day, which, you guys, a 15-second video takes a lot longer than you think to make. It's not 45 seconds of work to put out 3 TikToks in a day. And so I just did that really consistently, and I got about 23,000 followers that month. And I had a few videos go viral. In fact, one that's at like 9 million views,
Jeez.
Which is so random. It's literally just like, I don't even know. I'm like, why that one and not these other ones that I thought were funnier? Like, I think that's what's funny about TikTok, is you just kind of have to keep showing up and being consistent. And then I think the odds are in your favor that eventually something will do well.
Okay. I've got a bogey. Lea, apparently one of my boys wants to meet you. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Come say hello. Yeah, there you
Hello.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So, hey, bud, Leah's saying hello to us from Washington State.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the new normal, bud. While we're all staying home from school and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously.
I know. I'm just terrified.
Well, you don't have to be terrified. We'll talk about it later. Okay. Hey, go get a snack. We'll see you upstairs. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
I have to say, being a content creator is quite a blessing during the coronavirus. You can just interview people via Zoom.
Dude.
Not have to leave your house.
Yeah. No. Totally. Yeah. So, and unless, of course, I don't know, conversation for another time. Unless, of course, you are a special needs parent, in which case your IEP is really hard to bring home. Actually, it's really hard to implement at home, because you have like a small army of resource teachers and specialists who really, really help out. So,
Whew, good luck.
thank you. We're gonna need it here. But that's awesome. So it sounds like then with TikTok, then you started by, like you said, you went hard for a month, throwing spaghetti at the wall. And some stuff like that 9 million view video like stuck.
Exactly. So I've kind of cooled off from it a little bit, just because I realized that it was taking so much time away from making my crypto content. And that's truly the meat and potatoes of what I want to be doing in the future. Like, obviously it'd be cool if I was somehow TikTok famous, but that's like more like a whatever, like that'd be kind of interesting. But this is really what I want to be doing with my time. And so I've just kind of left it to, if I've got a day where I'm like, I've got some time, or I have an idea, then I'll do it. But I'm not going to purposely spend a lot of extra time on it right now. So.
Got it. That makes sense. To your point, it sounds like the people who I see who doing a lot of TikTok content, and I deleted it from my phone. First off, because it was like, I mean, what is it?
I-
DOD is saying you shouldn't have it on your phone, and
I do go back and forth with that as well, like talking about TikTok in the cryptoverse because I feel like everyone hates it, and so I also wonder if I should be on there or not. But,
well, if you're open to a suggestion, I'll have something for you that maybe at the end of our time together that I think you'll appreciate. Maybe it's a strategy you can use. You probably already thought about it, but I'm putting some pieces together right now. Now that we chat about it, and you've actually got a little bit of traction there. Maybe it'll come in handy. But
cool.
Let's pivot a little bit here and talk about privacy. This is the topic du jour, right? And you mentioned before the start of the interview that this is something you've been starting to explore with your content. Tell me about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been really fun. Like, obviously, I've heard a lot about Monero, but it wasn't something that I'd really spent a lot of time looking into. And so generally what I've been doing lately is if I have something I want to learn more about, I'll bring people onto my show that can talk about it so I can interview them and learn more myself along with my audience, right? And so I recently had Crypto Ramble on my show just to do kind of an introduction to privacy coins because she pretty much focuses on privacy on her channel, and she's
great. She's absolutely great.
Oh, she's awesome. I loved chatting with her. She was just such a wealth of knowledge. And so that was just a really great interview. And then I haven't posted it yet. I don't know when this comes out. I'm posting it tomorrow. So maybe it'll be out by the time this is. But I just interviewed Cake Wallet, which is a Monero wallet. And so I definitely would be interested in having more people. Maybe I'll have to interview you about privacy as well. But yeah, I've thought about maybe having, that's privacy coins, but I've thought about maybe having like Naomi Brockwell on to talk about privacy. She makes a lot of like living a more private life kind of videos. And so, yeah, it's definitely an area I'm looking to explore a little bit more on my channel and learn more about.
Very, very cool. So to kind of like to kind of be really blunt about it, I think what we find in the infosec, especially the infosec scene and the privacy advocacy scene, right, with the EFF, and then with people who are actually building privacy technologies and doing privacy and security audits, there tends to be really high gender equality in that side of STEM. So you'll find that when it comes to infosec people who actually do like penetration testing and making sure that networks are secure and stuff, you see extremely high representation of women in that field. It was something that for me, when I first started to take a look at that as sort of like a profession, and it's not something that I do professionally, but when I looked at that field, I thought like, that's actually remarkable because you don't see as many female engineers in other sides of tech, not today anyway. So random.
That's awesome.
I don't know if
Good fun fact.
Yeah, don't know if that matters to anybody. Like, but I saw it was like, different. One of these things is not like the others. So maybe there'll be a great series there, but it seems really well represented, really diverse in the right ways, right? Not in a self-important way, but in a way that's like, no, it's remarkable because people here get it. I don't know.
Right. Well, I think that when you see industries that have really good diversity, like I think that that's just really touching on the fact that it's a topic people care about, that people are wanting to get involved in, they're wanting to be knowledgeable on. And so I view that as a very positive sign, just in general, that this is a topic that really matters,
Yeah, totally agreed. So the podcast that I'm working on right now is entirely focused on privacy. Even when I'm interviewing projects that are not privacy oriented projects, I'll press them for their opinions on privacy and ask them like, hey, do you, like, everybody's got their own personal tips, tricks, and hacks for stuff in life, right? And so I'll ask people about what they use for privacy. You are no exception, Leah. We're gonna get your tips, tricks, and hacks. So before I let you go, I know you're running a really tight schedule today. I've got to ask, as far as privacy projects or privacy currencies or privacy wallets or privacy tech, do you have a go-to that just the first thing that comes to mind when people say privacy, you being a person who's worked in tech for as long as you have and is so focused on cryptocurrency now, what are you focused on? What gets you excited now when it comes to privacy?
That's a really great question. I think in kind of what first came to mind for me right now, maybe it's because I've been learning more about privacy coins lately, but I am really attracted to the idea of Monero and in general of privacy coins. I know there's different degrees of privacy that's available in various, coins and in different situations, but ultimately for me, I would say that I identify as more of like a voluntarist anarchist when it comes to my political views. And I really do think that people should be able to live their life however they want. And I am attracted to the idea of privacy coins because I think that being able to do what you want with your funds, how you want, is something that everyone should have. And I think that, with our society moving less and less like cash focused, we're losing some of that fungibility. And so I know that Bitcoin is kind of pseudo-anonymous in the sense that there's some room there, but that's, don't get me wrong, I love Bitcoin, but I think that there's an interesting differentiation between how some of these privacy coins are approaching that piece of kind of like personal sovereignty and non-traceability that I think is really interesting.
Got it. So it sounds like then the first thing that comes to mind you brought up was something like Monero. You like the idea of Monero because it's private by default?
Yeah, I think just because it's built into the system to be private. Like it's like you said, it's not pseudo-anonymous. It's not this. It is actually private. And that to me, I think is really interesting.
Very, very cool. And now I've got to ask also, have you tried any of the privacy wallets to further anonymize Bitcoin?
That's not something I've played a lot with yet. Like I've been hearing more about like mixing and doing these different things, which is really interesting. That's not something I've really dived down yet. But I have been playing with Cake Wallet because like I said, I just interviewed them. And so when I have someone on my show, I try to actually like use their product before I talk to them so I can, have some better questions for them. And so that's been kind of interesting just to play around with a little bit too.
Very, very cool. So the user experience there, what are your opinions after having tried it?
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I think one thing that I like about what they're doing, and I should say I've just kind of downloaded it and poked around. I haven't done like a whole lot on it yet. So, maybe I'll have to do some sort of walkthrough video sometime so I can, really dig into it deeper. But I think that I like what they're doing with trying to make privacy coins feel more approachable and usable with a good iOS app experience. I think that that's really important. Having good user experience, easy onboarding. Like if we're looking at adoption of cryptocurrencies in the future, I think that making that user experience as easy as possible is going to be important. And so I think that it's cool what they're doing, trying to do that for Monero.
Very, very cool. I just started trying out Cake Wallet for myself a little while ago, and there's some other mobile wallets that support Monero, but not in the same way. And right. I've got to say, I totally agree. They've made it about as simple as possible while still maintaining complete sovereignty over private key ownership and key management. It doesn't, I think, get much simpler to have full access to your own private keys on a mobile wallet with a currency that's fully private. They've done impressive work so far. So
definitely. Another wallet that I really like that I know supports Monero is Edge Wallet. I don't know if you've used them, but they've got a great user experience. They make it really easy to, kind of buy and, switch between different cryptocurrencies. And the fact that they have both decentralized exchanges and regular exchanges listed on there, I think is kind of cool. So that's another wallet that I really like in terms of like options that they have available.
Very cool. Well, since I know you're using Edge Wallet, pay attention to when they debut their support of Zcoin. So I spoke with Ruben Yap over at Zcoin some time ago, and he mentioned that the Edge Wallet team, or that Paul is trying to make sure that when they do implement Zcoin support, that they're going to do it in a fully private by default way, even though it's one of those coins where there's conditional privacy. You can turn it on and off, a bit like Zcash.
Yeah.
But for Edge Wallet, when they finally support it, they're saying, no, we only want to support it in a fully private mode. So hopefully soon they'll be able to do that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's I think there's something in the air in 2020. People are all kind of coming together to say like, hey, we all have that same sense that our privacy and our data privacy, at least, is being encroached upon by, Big Brother. So, Lea, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. Is there any kind of a technology you think more consumers should just be aware of in terms of general data privacy or personal privacy?
A technology, you mean like something that would help them protect their privacy?
Sure. So something like maybe, I don't know, putting a little 9-volt infrared LED on the front of your cap so you blind security cameras, for example. That was all the rage 10 years ago.
I love that. Well, one thing, I guess this is maybe semi-related. I saw a picture somewhere on social, maybe Twitter, thought that was funny. Someone was getting pulled over by a cop and they just put a sign in their window that said, "I have the coronavirus." And I'm like, kind of genius. So,
yeah.
I don't know if he would get in trouble for that, but
right. Low tech hack. So make sure you actually look like you're coughing, right?
I know. Actually, one thing that I want to look into more that I haven't yet is like little like data blockers that you can use. Like if you're in a public place that you can like before you plug in your device, it's kind of an extension. I don't know if you've used those, but I'm kind of curious to learn more about that as a piece of technology and a way to, kind of up your privacy a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So I haven't used any of those, but the great thing about USB, it's a fully open spec, and there are four wires basically running through USB. Those little data blockers, what they do is they essentially only allow the two wires that carry current through to your device, because most electronics are designed to accept current. But I don't know. I'm of the opinion very similar to how that piece of paper was like, hey, low tech hack. The low tech hack in my book is just carry around a little lithium ion battery like in your pocket or your purse, and then you've got something that if you needed to plug in publicly, plug that in, because then they can't steal anything. They can just charge up your battery, and then you can take that battery with you. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, Lea, I know you got to run, and I don't want to hold you any longer. On TikTok, consider getting some secondary device, maybe an older phone or a tablet or something, and then put a VPN on it, like Proton VPN. It's fully free, and it'll give you all the data speed that you need, and they do not log at all. They make Proton VPN or Proton Mail as well, but Proton VPN on that device. That way, bare minimum, and then also don't sign into any other services that you care about on that secondary device. So if it is being crawled by whomever, they can't get anything.
It's my TikTok old phone, right? Yeah. That's actually a great idea.
Sharpie on the back. TikTok phone. Do not use for anything important.
Right. Well, thanks for that tip. I actually really appreciate that. That's a good one.
Yeah. No. Happy that you're getting traction there. So if it helps you continue on that winning streak, you're hot. You're hot on TikTok. So keep it up. So, Lea, really appreciate your time. Where is the best place for people to contact you?
Yeah, definitely. So we pulled up my website earlier, lealovescrypto.com. There's my email's there, contact is there, form is there. But also just Twitter. I'm pretty much on Twitter all the time, so you can always find me there, girlgon_crypto. And then if you want to see more of my interviews and videos that I make, just type in Girl Gone Crypto on YouTube and you'll find me.
Awesome. Lea, appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.